In addition to his very weird Truth Social post that made no sense and cut off mid-sentence, Donald Trump also sent out another panicked post on Truth Social this past weekend that definitely shows that his campaign is totally focused on what matters most to American voters. And based on what Donald Trump has to say, the thing that matters most to American voters right now is whether or not he called Fox News or Fox News called him. Now, as you'll recall, Thursday evening after Kamala Harris gave her acceptance speech at the DNC, which, by the way, beat the ratings for Trump's RNC speech by 22%, so he's pissed off about that. But after she gave her speech, Donald Trump calls into Fox News. He speaks with Martha McCallum and Brett Baier. They're forced to cut him off because he's rambling like an idiot and their show was coming to an end. I did a segment on it over the weekend. And then immediately after that, he calls into Newsmax to continue his incoherent ranting. And as I said in my segment, it's weird because he called them. They didn't call him. Well, apparently, and I'm not even trying to suggest, by the way, that I launched that talking point, but I guess the Washington Post put out an article this past weekend talking about how weird it was that Trump had to call them and they didn't call him. So that is a thing that kind of picked up over the weekend, causing Donald Trump so much stress that he got up in the wee hours of the morning and put this on Truth Social. Brett Baier of Fox News called me. I didn't call him just prior to the Kamala convention speech and asked me if I would like to critique her after she is finished. I agreed to do so. I thought it was non-specific and weak with no fracking, crime, inflation, or anything else of interest even mentioned. Delivery was a C+ with far too many and speedy thank yous at the beginning. It was weird. Likewise, I didn't call other media outlets that asked me to go on. They called me. The fake news, like often guilted Maureen Dowd of the failing New York Times, wrote incorrectly that I was making the calls. Wrong! I didn't have to make calls to go on TV or anything else. They call me. It's called ratings, I guess, and I'm the ratings machine. So my apologies, it was the New York Times, not the Washington Post, and I think he meant to say gilded Maureen Dowd instead of guilted, Gilted. So still having some trouble with the grammar and spell check there, bud. But he is a ratings machine, he says. And he wants everybody to know that those outlets, by God, they called him. He's not the one out there making those phone calls. They want me. I don't need them. Because I'm what's driving their ratings. Except Fox News died in the ratings last week. They were last in the cable news races. MSNBC and CNN both beat Fox News with the coverage of the DNC. And even you calling into Fox News, by the way, Thursday evening, and yeah, I'm going to say you called in, that didn't save the network. You are, in fact, not the ratings machine. So this post proves to us two separate things. The first and most obvious is that those reports about Donald Trump being the one to have to call them because they didn't really care, he just wanted to be on the air, those got under Trump's skin. It makes him feel small. It makes him feel weak. It makes him seem like he is so desperate for attention that he's calling these people up saying, put me on the air right now so I can complain about it. And as far as we know, that's what happened. You know, unless Brett Baier comes out, shows us his call log, or can show us any kind of phone record showing that he placed the initial call to Donald Trump and then told Trump to call in at a specific time. Unless he can prove that, we have no way to know what exactly did happen. Although I, until that evidence comes out, am going to assume that Trump is the one who called them and not the other way around. Because again, immediately after that ended, he called into Newsmax. So does kind of seem like he's the one making the phone calls. I mean, all the evidence that is available suggests that Trump is lying about who initially called whom. Now, the other thing, and this is what everybody expected to happen, the ratings of the DNC are driving Donald Trump insane. I mean, after all, that is why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. came out on Friday to endorse Donald Trump, did that little scene with him down in Arizona, because they wanted to blunt whatever bump Harris and Walz were going to get from the convention. It didn't help. I mean, let's be real honest about that right now. It didn't help. I mean, if anything, all the news over the weekend after Kennedy's endorsements were, hey, let's not forget about the brainworms. Let's not forget about the roadkill freezer. Let's also not forget about the sex diary of his that came public over a decade ago. All of the horrible things this guy has done. And now he's joining forces with Trump for the sole purpose of, as he says, stopping Harris. But it's really because there's, obviously Kennedy wants to be a part of a cabinet so he can have some kind of power. Regardless of what it is, it's pathetic. They thought it was going to be a big October surprise. We're going to get all this support, and it didn't happen. And instead, what a lot of the reports over the weekend talked about were how much better Harris's DNC performed in the ratings compared to Donald Trump's RNC. And it got under his skin so much that he felt compelled to do this in the early AM hours on the weekend to let everybody know that he is the ratings machine. Even on Friday, I believe it was Eric Trump who posted out there on social media saying that the DNC did a bait and switch on Thursday night. They made everybody think Beyonce was going to be there, so of course everybody tuned in. Because they wanted to see Beyonce, but then Beyonce didn't show. So, they really kind of tricked everybody into watching. So there's already an ungodly amount of cope taking place over there on the right. But even that's not enough for Donald Trump. He wants everybody to know that he is a so-called ratings machine, but he's not. You're old, you're tired, you're boring, you're stale. Everybody has already heard every single thing that you have to say, and by God, we are sick of it. Your rally crowds are bored, yawning. Harris campaign put out a phenomenal video showing just countless people yawn, 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 yawn while you talk. Nobody cares. You're a television program that was once popular, but it got stale in the later seasons, right? Most of the original writers left the staff. Your show kind of jumped the shark. And now this is what you are. You're a laughingstock. The country is laughing at you. We're laughing at you because you have to call into Fox. They don't call into you anymore. All of this mockery, all of the defeats that he is currently suffering in the polls, in the ratings, in the fundraisings, all of it is getting under Trump's skin in a way that we have never seen a political candidate be able to successfully do. And most of this, by the way, the Harris campaign isn't even actively doing. This is just passive humiliation for Donald Trump. And it is driving him absolutely cuckoo bananas insane. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.